In the modern NHL, we're seeing talent of several different generations clash like never before. While we witness the prime of superstars like McDavid, McKinnon, Matthews, Draisaitl, and Kucherov, the generation before them is still dominating, all while chasing history in the process. But in an era where teenagers can step right into the NHL and have an impact, the next generation of superstars are already showing what they can do. In the Calder Race this season, there are 3 rookies in particular making a lot of noise. First, there's Matvei Michkov, the 20-year-old Russian right winger whose skill and creativity have been a breath of fresh air for a Philadelphia team that has struggled to create offense for years. Then you have the American defenseman in Hutson. The college highlight factory who gives shades of the next Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes has Habs fans really excited for the future. Finally, you have the first overall pick and Canadian center in Macklin Celebrini, the youngest player in the NHL that has taken the league by storm with his two-way play at just 18 years old. All 3 of these kids have had an instant impact for their franchise. So let's take a deeper look into how this generation of NHL stars are making their mark early. Now I'll be clear, the rookie class this season is incredible. Rookies like Stankoven, Siplakov, Gauthier, Wolf, Smith, the list goes on of exciting young talent. But the 3 at the top are at another level in their development and impact. First, let's look at Matvei Michkov. Until recently, he was leading all rookies in the NHL in points. He's also second among Flyers scorers and the leader with 3 game-winning goals. And when you look at the details of his game, his offensive awareness and playmaking is what shines as a rookie. Where he's thriving the most is on the power play, leading the team in points in this category. The best power play players in the world know how to break a defensive structure like Michkov does here. Washington is playing a diamond PK, and Philly usually plays a 1-3-1 with Michkov on that right flank. But here he's going to get lower to the net to get this defender to flex out. Sure enough, he gets the puck, engages in a brief 1v1, and then sends it back to the point. Michkov climbs back up to the top of the circle, and he's going to create all kinds of confusion by just rotating higher and into the middle with the puck. The Caps then get confused in their coverage, the left D is pressuring, and you have one forward telling the other to pressure at the top. Just by his route, Michkov's got all his ducks in a row, the diamond is broken, and the down-low play is open for a goal. Whether it's setting up on the bumper or making a cheeky seam pass, his vision already makes him dangerous from this side. But if he becomes a true shooting threat as well like Kucherov, defenders will start putting themselves out of position to block the shot and open up even more options to make Philly dangerous. Now, everyone thinks the kid is a power play merchant, and even though his 5-on-5 numbers aren't great, his offensive instincts are elite. As a right winger, most of his touches come along the wall and outside of the dot lane. The strong offensive players are elite at taking pucks off the perimeter and funneling them into high-danger scoring chances in the middle of the ice. Usually when Michkov has possession, he's able to find a lane through a triangle of a defender's stick to create a dangerous opportunity for his teammate. Of course, he's usually getting the puck in these areas because he's aware of how to sneak into a defender's blind spot and into space. At just 20, almost all of his offensive routes are done with the next play in mind. Even when it's an awkward rim puck like we see here, Michkov knows that receiving this puck on his backhand and turning his back to the play handcuffs him offensively. Instead, it's a strong first touch from his skate to his stick, and that allows him to keep his momentum heading in the opposite way of the defenders, and it creates a good chance. The best in the world at this first touch skill is, well, Kucherov again. Now, any elite winger needs to create off the rush, and for Michkov, it starts in the D zone. Usually, if he sees numbers where Philly has a good chance of creating a turnover, he will blow the zone to create an immediate counter threat. Straightaway speed isn't Michkov's strength, but he negates it with subtle delays and changes of speed to create time for his teammates to join the rush and give them a numbers advantage. Michkov is the offensive talent that Philly has been starving for. And even though he's dealt with consistency issues and a health bomb from Torts, he led the NHL rookies in scoring until Hutson stepped up. For a D-man to be doing what he's doing as a rookie is incredible. The 20-year-old has been averaging 22 minutes a night and is already making Habs history. He is the fastest rookie defenseman in franchise history to reach 30 career points in 42 games. Now, having a defenseman like Cale Makar or Quinn Hughes makes a team better instantly in every area of the ice. Hutson isn't at that caliber yet, obviously, but his presence has allowed Montreal to be far more dynamic in all 3 zones. His skating, edge work, and head fakes makes him a slippery devil to defend against, and as a winger going man coverage against Hutson is a complete nightmare. Most guys look like Bambi trying to close the gap because of how well he sells his fakes. Using his entire frame from his head and shoulders right down to his hips and toes, Hutson puts players in a blender quite often. Sure, it's sexy on the highlight reel, but that one skill transforms how Montreal can create offense. Because Hutson can have you chasing thin air if you get too aggressive, teams will become naturally more passive. With all that extra space, Montreal can park a third forward up high and exploit it for a solid chance. His mobility and puck skills allow Montreal to be far more active with all 5 players on offense. It's also the same reason why he can quarterback Montreal's #1 power play at 20 years old. And when you have a mobile defenseman like this, it drastically changes how you transition up ice. Hutson gives Montreal a more dynamic rush offense by activating as the weak side D and giving them a numbers advantage. Defensively, at 5'10", Hutson isn't crushing anyone like Scott Stevens, but he doesn't have to. He's effective at using his skating to angle off plays, create a turnover, and then send Montreal on the counter. Even on this 3-on-2, his skating ability allows him to close the gap on the trailer and angle him to his backhand where it's deflected wide. Like any rookie's game, there's room for growth. But combine all of this, and you have a kid who's tied with Cale Makar in points for a D-man in the last month and a half and has been an integral part to the Canadiens getting back in a playoff spot. Both Michkov and Hutson have their cases for the Rookie of the Year. But as of right now, the odds-on favorite is still Macklin Celebrini. Despite missing 12 games with a hip injury, he leads all rookies in goals and even strength production. As the youngest player in the NHL at 18 years old, Celebrini plays a mature style of game on both sides of the puck, and it all starts prior to his possession. Always within a couple of feet from his teammates, he's constantly providing support for a quick pass on the breakout or to help win a puck battle. If San Jose can't create off the forecheck, Celebrini has the awareness as the F3 or high forward to stay above his check and cut down a threat off the rush. It's fundamentals, but to do it with such consistency as a rookie is what's impressive. And in a game that's all about compete, almost no one is better than the 18-year-old kid. Ranking first in the NHL in puck battles won, he thrives in these 50-50 battles. If it's cutting through a player's hands to get strong body positioning or flat out outworking his opponent, Celebrini is a dog on the puck. This goal against Vegas has all of it. As Vegas breaks out of their own end, Celebrini retreats as the F3. Now, once he sees that the pressure is on the puck, he attacks to take advantage and create a turnover. After a bobbled attempt, this looks like it's going to be an easy Vegas possession. But Celebrini keeps the legs pumping and makes a diving play to create a rush chance. He also gets up right away, presents himself as an option, and it eventually leads to a goal. From defense to offense at 18 years old. Now, because Celebrini is great at winning these battles and providing support, his off-puck routes are consistently putting him in spots for him to get the puck in the middle of the ice. When it comes to controlled zone entries, Celebrini ranked first in the NHL among forwards ahead of Connor McDavid and Nathan MacKinnon. And if you watch him play, he's almost always driving the puck in between the dot lanes and attacking the middle of the ice. Because of his speed and the dual threat of his playmaking and shot, usually when he enters in the middle, teams are very quick to swarm him to make sure he doesn't step in uncontested. That is exactly what he wants, and he creates all kinds of space for his teammates because of his ability to create controlled zone entries. The result is a player who literally dictates the pace of the game at 18 years old. All 3 of these kids have had an immediate impact for their teams, yet only one of them will win the Rookie of the Year. Who exactly remains to be seen, but early in their young careers, they've shown what the future of the NHL will look like for years to come.